What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to take a look at EB-02. There's a lot of cool stuff that is coming along for EB-02. I'm excited, and frankly, I think you should be a little bit excited too. Now, starting off, we do need to mention nice and quickly that there are some cards that have been kind of revealed. And when I say kind of revealed, what I mean is they've been shown off on a poster, but the main information is hidden. So we got a secret rare Luffy, we got a super rare Trafalgar Law, and we've actually got a super rare dual card of Sanji and Pudding. And it is actually called Sanji and Pudding, not Sanji and Charlotte Pudding. I mean, Sanji and Charlotte Pudding would be a mouthful, so I understand why they've gone this route, but still, kind of interesting that it's Sanji and Pudding. There were purple Luffy and Sanji and Pudding, and then black Trafalgar Law. There's not much point guessing what they do, we'll figure it out soon enough, but the point is, they are coming, they are confirmed, and that is rather lovely. Do get your predictions down in the comment section for what you think these cards might do. Obviously, the whole dual card with Sanji and Pudding, they always sound really cool when you call them dual cards, but the reality is, it's basically like a single card. The only difference is the traits in the top right-hand corner, / special, all of that. There's two of them rather than one. So we've clearly got strike for Sanji and then special for Pudding. That kind of makes perfect sense. We get it. Okay, cool. So, moving on then, what cards have we actually had revealed? Well, we've had some really good ones, but the one that I'm excited about is Brook. There's a super rare we'll get to in a minute, but I want to talk about Brook. I think Brook looks awesome. What we've got here is a black card, and we've got ourselves 5 cost, 6,000 power, counter plus 1,000, and on play, you can grab a Laboon from your trash and put it into your hand. Any Laboon card whatsoever, doesn't matter what the cost is, on play, any Laboon card goes from your trash to your hand. This is awesome. You get to recover Laboon cards, but it gets better. Because on KO, you get to play a 4 cost or lower Laboon card from your hand. And this second skill, usually I'd be going, well, you know, it's really nice being able to play a 4 cost or lower Laboon from your hand on KO, but you need to actually have a Laboon. You got to have the Laboon in hand at the right time when Brook is KO'd for this to work. But it doesn't matter, because on play you get to put a Laboon from your trash to your hand. Also, for what it's worth, at the moment we have 3 Laboon cards. They are all 4 cost or lower. But I do think it's fair to presume that with this skill on Brook in this set, we may well be getting a new one in this EB-02 set as well. The best Laboon, for what it's worth, is the one from EB-01. So I like EB-02, Brook, and EB-01 Laboon working together. It's got an activate main, rest this character to give one of your opponent's characters -4 cost. But we've also got the vanilla Laboon from Starter Deck 8 with wonderful artwork, which is just 4 cost, 6k, counter plus 1,000, which again is really nice in terms of you're playing it for free, you're recovering it from your trash for free, job's a good un. And then we've got Baby Laboon from EB-01, that when a character is KO'd, you get to draw 1 and trash 1. Good for cycling cards in your hand. The one from EB-01's the best, and it's got the alternate art by So-So. And I am delighted that I pulled this from one of my boxes of EB-01. That makes me a very happy Wassy. But yeah, I love that you can recover a Laboon from the trash, and I adore that you can play one for free on KO. Yes, there is obviously a possibility that you haven't drawn into a Laboon, so there isn't one in your hand or one in your trash, and then you can't use this skill on KO. Obviously, that's a possibility, but why would you think such hurtful things? It's going to be fine, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be fine. As someone who adores Laboon, this new Brook makes me very happy. But I did promise you a new super rare. We've got a new super rare. It's Jewelry Bonney. 7 cost, 7,000 power, counter plus 1,000. And on play, you choose one of your opponent's rested characters. And they do not activate during your opponent's next refresh phase. So basically, when you play this, you can take a rested character and turn them off for a turn. Make sure your opponent does not have access to them for the next turn. That's genuinely brilliant. We've seen skills like this before. Doesn't mean they're not incredibly good. This is my kind of skill. I like this very much indeed. This is going to annoy your opponent. But then afterwards, at the end of this turn, put one of your Don to active. So it's a green card that's then going to give you another Don that is active and available to use during your opponent's turn, which of course means for playing events and things of that nature. I like this. There is a lot to get excited about with this Jewelry Bonney. The fact that you can stop one of your opponent's characters activating is really nice. The fact that you get to put one of your Don to active for your turn sounds really nice. And it is worth noting that the Jewelry Bonney leader is a very good leader, which is seeing play and seeing success. And lately, we've been having a lot of Jewelry Bonney cards, which does kind of make sense. Again, if you've been reading the manga, watching the anime recently, the latest arc has been very heavy on Jewelry Bonney, so it does make sense that Jewelry Bonney would be getting a lot of love right now. But yeah, and let's not forget that your leader card has on your opponent's attack once per turn, you can pay one to rest your opponent's leader or character cards. And there's two ways that it interacts brilliantly with this new Bonney. Firstly, it's a skill you use on your opponent's turn that costs one Don. Well, when you use a skill with Bonney here, you activate a Don at the end of your turn, ready to use with this leader skill. Oh, wow. And secondly, you get to make one of your opponent's rested characters not activate, and the best way to try and defend against that is to leave the character you want active until you really need it, but then Jewelry Bonney, the leader, can rest it, and then it comes into your turn and you play the character and then they don't activate. Yeah. This seems fun, ladies and gentlemen. This one seems like it could be really very fun indeed. Now, we have a new Sogeking coming in as well. It's 4 cost, 5,000 power, counter plus 1,000, and for some reason, according to the rules, this character is also considered named Usopp, which is not the first time we've seen this from a Sogeking card, which apparently we're pretending they're the same thing now. We're just pretending Usopp and Sogeking are just the same character. I mean, if that's really what they want to do, fine. But we've got on play, you draw 2 cards, then you put 2 cards from your hand to the bottom of your deck in any order, then you return up to 1 character with a cost of 1 or less to the owner's hand. Which, as always, that could be like a 2k counter you've got on the board that you bump back to your hand, and then, yay, you've got it available to use and all of that. More likely, what you're really doing here is just reducing your opponent's cost, and then using this to bump back, hopefully, a more than 1 cost, but at very minimum, a 1 cost character, just to annoy your opponent. So you're cycling cards, you're bouncing characters back to hand. Frankly, this sounds like a very nice thing for me. But there is one more card we need to have a little bit of a look at, and I have already seen a little bit of confusion regarding the ruling for this one, but it's actually pretty clear. Let me explain it. We've got ourselves Iceburg. Iceberg's cool. I love Iceberg. Mostly I like the little mouse, I'll be honest with you. But the Iceberg Don is my favourite Don, and you can't stop me. We got 1 cost, 0 power, counter plus 1,000. So first things first, make no mistake about it, this is a card that you counter or use for the skill. We are not talking about an attacking card in any way, shape or form. But what we've got here is on play, if you've got 3 Don in play, you have to have at least 3 Don. You cannot use this turn 1 when you've only got 1 or 2 Don. It doesn't work. You have to have 3 Don. So it's a 1 cost, but the skill only works if you've got 3 Don. You look at the top 7 cards of your deck, which is a lot. Find a Galley-La Company, add it to your hand, and then you put the rest of the cards on the bottom of your deck in any order, of course. But then you can play a Galley-La Company from your hand. Play it for free. So it's one of those, we've seen this a few times in the game, where you search the card, and you play the card, but you don't necessarily have to play the one that you searched. And this is very important, because basically what that means is, if you don't have one, you can just search it, find it, and play it. if you do have one and the search fails, you can still play the one you already had in your hand anyway. So it kind of makes perfect sense. It's very much along the same kind of lines as the Wiper from OP-08. Let you look at the top 5 cards of your deck, find an upper yard and put it in your hand, and then play an upper yard from your hand. Although here you're looking at 7 cards rather than 5, which does make it a little bit better. And I've seen people asking, well, hang on a second, is this a Galley-La Company character, or is it specifically the card Galley-La Company? It is specifically the card Galley-La Company. In the same way that Wiper is very much the stage upper yard, rather than anything else, this is very specifically the stage. You search the stage, you play the stage. That is, of course, the stage that came around in OP-03, Galley-La Company. Free cost, activate main, you may rest this stage if your leader is Iceberg, add a Don card from your Don deck and rest it. And also, as a side note, this is a huge boost to Iceberg decks. It is really aggressive search for Galley-La Company the stage. But the stage is just an activate main, rest this stage and put a Don out. Now it only works in Iceberg decks, like I said. But in Iceberg decks, you've now got this 1 cost counter plus 2k, which is great incidentally. And then that will allow you to search out this stage, and the stage is really good. And then you're going to have this stage, and basically what it means is that if you're playing an Iceberg deck in the future, the chances of you having this stage out and ready to go are significantly higher for like the whole game. And it just means that now Iceberg decks are actually going to have this stage, and they're going to have it out and ready to go like the whole time. And the leader's got a Don -1 that lets you play a 5 cost or less Galley-La Company from your hand, and that is, of course, any of them. And the leader can't attack, so you might as well use this skill because you ain't attacking. And you got Don -1, but the stage will get that Don right back. And then your Iceberg here is just going to get your Don. I love this Iceberg. This is a very, very, very blatant thing that Bandai have done here. They're not being subtle. They are saying, hey, Iceberg decks aren't seeing enough play. Let's give a massive buff to Iceberg decks. And that's exactly what they've done. I hope it works, frankly. That's a lie. I hope I get all of the Iceberg Don I want. And then it works. Because Iceberg Don is my favourite Don. And I do feel like this could spike the price of Iceberg Don if it works. And I'm not saying there will be other cards in EB-02. I don't know. But I am telling you that this is a really, really blatant buff for Iceberg. And I know that was an OP-03 deck, but this is a really blatant buff for this Iceberg. So I'm just saying, do we really think this is all we've got? I'm going to tell you right now, I'm expecting at least a couple other Iceberg cards coming around in this set, which is going to buff Iceberg, and I am here for it. But I've told you everything you want to know now, so now it's over to you guys. Tell me if you think Iceberg could be great. Tell me if it's not enough. Tell me what you think about the Charlotte, Pudding, and Sanji card, and whether you think that's going to be any good, or it is just Sanji and Pudding, remember. Tell me about all of these cards, and obviously Brook and Laboon. Come on, tell me what you think about Brook and Laboon in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.